to better and better and better work. That's good with the hands low and wide though, right? That's exactly right, where you're saying, I need your neck down here. So that the neck is at least out of the way of creating a problem in the equation. Within that, you have to keep working that, like we said, the contact becomes, more and more reliable. But I think as far as bending him and getting his neck down, that you want to just get out, get out of the way, get it out of his way anyway, in terms of using it as an excuse or using it as a block for the energy that needs to go through his body over his back. Right, good. That's good. So I always think when they're like that, there's no way to rationalize with them, right? They're totally irrational animals. Because they have no ability to make the ifs or the becauses. You can't say, well, this is happening because of that. They don't get it. You're doing this because of that. This is your fault. You started it. You know what I mean? Like there's no, it is or it isn't. It's black and white with them. There's no rationale to them. And it makes always kind of the days like today, that place where you just have to kind of go, I can't kind of have just a decent discussion about why he's feeling the way he's feeling in that way where it's almost like talking to a crazy person. Can't believe what they say. You can't really take it seriously. You know what I mean? Like really crazy person. Because they have no basis in reality and they have no real grounded way of communicating at that point. And so you have to kind of just work your way around them and find a way that gets them to kind of come around to your way of thinking. And you just keep quietly saying, well, you're crazy. You're insane. I'm not going to argue with you or, try to rationalize with you or try to get you to kind of really understand this complex idea. I'm just going to kind of sit here and ride you, la, 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 singing row, row, row your boat until you basically just kind of come around and come over to doing the work that I'm asking. Right, good. We have a merit home that's a little like that. Some days totally quiet and good, and other days totally out of this world cuckoo. And it's never like one little thing. Oh, they're shying, or they're worried about being alone, or it's the time of day, or there's rain on the roof, it's always something a little different. There's a couple little things that pretty commonly will set her off, but there's some days too where those things actually don't make a difference. They don't bother her. And it's just every day the same process of going, you just have to work. And if some days it takes 2 hours to get you to that point, that's what it takes. And if other days it takes 10 minutes, that's more ideal. But in any event, you have to work. So we have to get you to that spot every day where you do work, that becomes the normal everyday thing, the norm being the work. Right. Good. And you keep working within the bend, little wiggle, little play, both wrists, both fingers, not even necessarily in those moments changing the bend if you don't need to, but just to kind of keep the bit moving within the bend. Yeah. Right. Just so that line of communication, talking to his mouth, never breaks, never stops, never changes. Because a lot of times, like there, which is good, your arm is quiet, your hand is quiet, the bend's consistent, you're just framing them, kind of like a side rein. Just saying, just stay right here. If that becomes sometimes too still, even though the neck is in a good spot, the jaw can still start to freeze or start to brace. And then if you need to close the hand for a moment to do something, then he's all of a sudden reacting again. So if that stays constantly active, talking to him, then you have that line always open that you can kind of squeeze a little stronger once if you need without him taking offense to that. Good. It's the type horse, too, I always tell people, I mean, it's easier said than done, but I never let them upset me because he's crazy, right? Like, why would you let a crazy person make you mad? If you let a crazy person make you mad, you're the fool, right? They might be crazy, but you're a fool. So when they're like that, you know what I mean? You just kind of think, don't have any emotional investment in it. You have to kind of have enough that you're good boying when things are good and you're firm when things are bad, but it's not your fault, you know, that he's a little nutty. You just have to kind of quietly see if you can find the solution to the problem. Basically like the psychiatrist, right? You got to prescribe the right drugs or talk him through it the right way, but it's not your fault he's like that. Nice, yeah. Now, if you had him as a 3-year-old and he started nice and quiet, I'd say, well, it is your fault, so, you know, mom gets a spanking. But it's not your fault. That's getting better, yeah, yeah. It's just going to say, when you feel a moment, too, where it kind of pushes through, stop for a second. See, too, like we were talking yesterday, if sometimes those breaks can help create a little better mental environment, whereas life comes down and feels a little better to him, that it's not like all anger, anger, anger all the time. It can be, ah, it's a good boy, it's good, it's good, it's good. That stuff is all like, I mean, horsey philosophy to the dressage work, because it's not always that easily done as it is said. I was telling these guys that story the other day about one of my friends coming out, listening to a lesson and saying to his wife, because I kept saying heels down, and he finally leans over and goes, why isn't she doing what you said? And I'm like, oh, she's trying. And she heard him on the microphone, and she's like, you did not just say that. And he goes, well, he's not, I mean, all you have to do is get your heels down, like you just do this. And she's like, she was so mad at him. But it doesn't matter if it's a physical thing or if it's sometimes just the philosophy of how you want to handle it. It's not always that easy to just kind of apply it or be that emotionally uninvolved or not get kind of put more on the line, thank you, to put more on the line with it than that. But the more you can just keep psyching yourself up into that, you know, as far as in your mind reasoning out the why he feels the way he feels or is the way he is or reacts the way he reacts, so that you don't then get invested in it on an emotional level. That's always kind of the process that you have to take. So I find myself all the time at home getting mad sometimes at people in the barn that I know aren't smart enough or trained enough or whatever enough to make the right decisions. And in a way, you can't really get mad at them, but I do all the time anyway. And I know better, right? So it's not always that easy done as it is said, but you have to just keep saying it over and over. Good. And you keep thinking with that now as he starts to give. Like overall, he's actually pretty good today with the height of his neck, staying down. That's actually better than yesterday. So keep thinking with that too now. As the neck is down, you're going to keep working the bit and keep trying to work his pole to flex more and more. Right. Because yesterday there were more moments where he was kind of having that neck tossing up and back at you, which again kind of works against him, which he then blames on you, like we were saying, because he's not rational, doesn't think about it. But he's having less and less those moments, so you can quietly, yeah, good, good, find little places of putting a little more and more quiet pressure on, not to harder work in the sense of, oh, do a pirouette and do all that, but harder work to the sense of, I can actually close my hand a little more and close my leg a little more, and he's not going to turn himself inside out. He might change leads behind, but he's not turning himself inside out with it. The more he can push through, yeah, to that contact now with the neck in that shape, the less he'll change leads behind, even though at first it might aggravate more. Or the less he'll bounce up and down, even though at first he might bounce up and down more. Keep kind of taking that risk with the contact now. If the neck is feeling pretty reliable, same thing with the forward, like we talked at the end yesterday, like you just did there with the top of the whip. To start to just demand a touch more of going, you've got to go up to this contact. You've got to move into it going forward. Right. Right, yeah. Good. Gently pushing. That's actually getting a little better flex through the pole. I like that. Keep quiet, quietly being aggressive, meaning gently do a lot. So that you're quietly kind of in his face with that suppling, literally in his face with your fingers and wrists and saying, I need this pole to flex. I'm going to nudge and push and shove a little with my leg now. Because there's no reason in the top line at that point that there's any kind of problem. That problem where he won't push into it becomes more mental. Whereas yesterday with the neck being up and this and that, that is a physical block. Here he's physically kind of letting go of the block. He's just holding on to the tight, the tension, and the mental idea of he can't or he won't. It's always too when they're like that, it doesn't matter if they say I can't or I won't. Can't, I'm not strong enough, or I won't, I don't want to, let's make an issue, do you want a piece of me? It doesn't really matter because the correction's the same. The correction is you will. You can and you will. You can, you will, and you have to. Nice, good, good. Good, that's good, quiet, tough on your end, I like that. Because that looks, again, it's good, not getting involved, but still riding them. You know what I mean? Not getting in the emotional discussion with them, but riding them. Good, good. Yeah, fine, fine. Fine. But I like that on your end, the temperament, like the people temperament on that, just sitting there. There's nothing you can do other than proactively wait it out. Keep saying, this is what I need, this is what I want, because there's no rational reason that you can discuss with them and say, well, if you just do this, life will get so much better. You have to just show them. And when they get to that state of mind and kind of get wound up like that, the only thing that shows them is just making them do it. Which, again, easier said than done because you can't force it because then they fight back more. But if you just ride them around on a long rein, they never give it either. You have to somewhere kind of help show them, help make it happen to show them how to do it. Good, 20-meter circle. Yeah, trot when you're ready again. Good, I like that in the trot with the roundness. Stay circle. One more time back to canter. Just as like there as you're starting to hit now, as he starts to push through a little bit more in the canter, then I would start to experiment a little bit. Like I said at the beginning, I would just stay in the canter and kind of work a few minutes till he starts to settle in. Once you start and breathes, and once you start to feel him kind of settling in and going to work a little bit more, then I would start to do more as far as the actual transitions go and things like that as far as taking the risk of challenging his back and the hind leg in a change, in a fluctuation, so that you can get more and more kind of more sit-up type work done within the canter to his core to keep getting the back strong. Once you have this containment, which you're getting now as far as the throughness and the roundness and everything to the shape, once that's there, then to start to put more work in as far as the transitions in that core. Yeah, good, round, yeah. It's actually getting better and better now in the trot, yeah. Funny today, the trot is pushing more through than the canter overall. Like both times now, the last little bit of trot before that last bit of canter was starting to get a little better. This actually looks better now too. And you have to kind of think from day to day that might change. Like I said, I would canter a while. I think that that's in general the best way of kind of getting that stuff to push through and wear out. But the trot is kind of finding a nicer place, an easier ride, a better feel. That might be because he did all the canter work, right? But you kind of want to capitalize on that, right? When he starts to give it to you, those better and better feelings like that in the trot or in a certain gait, whether it's trot or canter. Right now it's the trot where you kind of go, this is what it could be about. Work could be this easy, where you kind of just play, your aids back off a little bit, everything gets a little easier again. Not meaning that you back off any of that kind of push to the connection, but because he's giving in, everything just softens a little bit. Nice, there, right, right.
Good, and that's good. Nice, and a trot again, yeah. Good, walk once again when you're ready. Good. So I like that, actually, the effect that that's having on his trot is getting him a little bit more through and not, I mean, in one way getting him hotter, but not frantically hot, actually helping push him through a little bit more.
Good. Start going. I want to check back in with my two major gaits, the trot, the canter, and I want to really use that transition, that trot canter, to get that lift of the back, that kind of ab crunch moment to the lift of the back, so that I can then, in a good way, set that much more fatigue into the top line and also just that much more work into the top line to make the top line stronger, the core stronger, but also in a way wear them out, so that the tension keeps dissipating from the work itself. Good. Little firmer still in the up transition, just on the contact of going, you stay here in this round shape for me. Good. Keep your contact, take your time, flex a little inside, get them on your outside rein, wiggling both sides of the bit, and yeah, be firm. You got it. You got it. That was good. Tough, though. And the setup was right. It was him going, I want out of here. But you want to just keep visiting through that setup, that transition.